Hello. My question has to do with karmic groups and the way that people incarnate on Earth. And I know Kryon has commented on this before, and I haven't heard all the channeling, so I don't know if he's specifically commented on this. But over the last 20 years, we've had a revolution in technology through the internet and connecting people from across the world. And my question is that, let's say we have two people in the same karmic group who have something to do with each other, whether it's to accomplish the same mission or otherwise. But they get incarnated, let's say I'm here, for example, and the person I'm supposed to meet is in Japan. Is the internet now allowing people from across the world to experience, say, two different kinds of things that they need to accomplish? Let's say they needed to experience something in Asia to resolve one thing, but they also needed to meet me. And at the same time, I needed to accomplish something here, but I also needed to meet them. Is the internet allowing us to accomplish both those things at the same time?
Thank you. That's a very, very good question, because it falls into that area. Yeah. It falls into that area are the changing times fitting in and enhancing a metaphysical concept of karma, also in incarnation, people meeting one another, all the things, or is it hurting it? Now, if you talk to old metaphysical people, sometimes what they're looking at is they're saying our technology is ruining everything. They don't understand what Kryon said years and years ago. I don't know how old you were when Kryon said, there'll come a time when everybody knows everything, there can be no more secrets. And that was before the internet. And that's what he was talking about. So can you imagine, the answer to your question is yes. Can you imagine now a world where we are open to meeting soulmates, twin flames, partners, whatever, long distance? But not only that, we're also open to many past karmic relationships over many lifetimes, being able to connect with many of them at the same time. Now, you can say, as an intellectual person, well, what contract are you going to then have with who? And the answer is, what if you were supposed to do something together? All of you. Now, that's kind of out of the ballpark, because you always think of a karmic relationship as something the two of you do. And now we're looking at a group karmic relationship, or something that was always planned to be bigger than we thought it would be. And the internet is going to allow that. It already is. Part of us not going to war is being able to look at people in foreign lands and seeing they're just like us. But beyond that, because I know what I like about the young people today is they're not just satisfied with looking around on the internet, they're meeting people. And they're meeting people far and far and far away. Gary, my friend Gary, is a ham radio operator, and he is one of the original. I don't mean like he's 300 years old. I mean, but he was doing this. He's been doing this for a long time, and he's an original coder. And what he talked about was the beauty of being able to get, in those days, to be able to get on his ham radio and talk to a person in France or whatever. And you can talk all night. And the internet is this on steroids. And you can do this, and anybody can do it, and the young people are learning to do it in ways we can't even think about. And so I want to tell you that's a very insightful question. And it really begs answers that are even beyond, I think, what Kryon has talked about. Thank you.
Thank you. To follow the consciousness curve that you just spoke of, will we be able to self-govern, or will we have a new paradigm for government? We will always self-govern, but we will have a new paradigm for self-governing. I've said this before, and I don't want to, if you've heard these question and answers before, you've heard what Kryon said, I don't want to just repeat and repeat and repeat. We're 200 and something years old as a civilization on the planet of Americans, a civilization, community. And there is a time limit for certain things if they don't change, where they'll break. And ours is broken. Whereas 200 years ago or so when we started, it was revolutionary. It was awesome. It was the Kryon has even said that the articles that are so precious to us, whether it's the Constitution or the independence, whatever it is, were all channeled. All channeled. They were so new, and the fact that they were agreed to and we went forward with it was a real wild card on the planet. So here we are sitting with that as our lineage, and we know it, and we're proud of this. And now Kryon says, you may have noticed it's broken. What you have now is let's call it a 4-year cycle. Let's say that not an 8 because we could be 8, but you have a winner take all. You don't have what we used to have, what the founding fathers wanted, and that is you run on your platforms, you vote, and then you have somebody who's going to lead the country based upon that information and lead the country. What you have now is winner take all. Whoever wins wants to cancel everything that happened 4 years before and argue with the other side, keep the other side from doing anything, even if it's good, just because of that. So you have a fight now that was never, ever considered by the founding fathers to be the way it should work. It eventually will disable a country. So what Kryon has said is you may see another system pop up, and that system may be shown to you by another country that's not here yet. And that other country will have the advantage of having no history at all and starting from scratch. And it will take what we have and go past what we have. Instead of electing a president that has a party, you'll elect a non-partied president who will be the best negotiator. And he will have no party. He will run on a platform of how he could get the parties working together. And the plan he would have is what you're going to look at. So the parties would continue to be the parties, and you'd still belong to the parties, and you'd still elect your representatives and your governors and all this party-wide. But the center, the president, will be the one who can best guide the two parties together, negotiate, compromise to get things done. So it would have to be not another party, but another paradigm. Now, can you see how hard that would be to change here? It would require many amendments, probably. And you've seen how difficult it is to get anything passed at all. So that's why it may take another country to show us this works, even a small one. And then when we see it work, we'll demand it. And this is how so many things have worked when we see it working someplace else, and we look at our representatives and say, make that happen, or you're out of a job. And then they caucus and go, we're going to be out of a job. And then things start to happen. But not just with ideas alone. They almost have to see it working, or something has to happen before it starts to solidify and have action in this country. Both Greg Braden and I and some others that meet and talk about these kinds of things, and a futurist group as well, have agreed that the country is headed into a broken state where we just can't we can't move anything forward. We got programs, we got great ideas, but we're fighting each other to such an extent now that it's so tough to get anything done. And it doesn't matter who's in charge. That's the paradigm today. So if we have a change of party this next time, if it happens, we'll have the same thing. It's just reversed. We'll still fight. So something has got to change in the attitude or a wake-up call for that. Does that answer your question? Thank you.